So college fit, first and foremost, with so many choices, public, private, small, large, urban. Heidi?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. Couple myths and facts. Myth number one, there's a perfect college for me. Sometimes, maybe there is, but more than likely, as it says, there's over 5,000 post-secondary institutions that students have to choose from. Narrowing down that to Ohio, we have hundreds of schools in Ohio. Myth number two, the posted price, the price of admission is locked in the price you're going to pay. Nearly 85% of students who go off to college or universities do qualify for financial aid. So the sticker price is not always the final price, something to keep in mind. And the keys to success. So looking and researching, investigating your options, that's critical. Sometimes students feel like they're not sure where to go, and that's where parents can come in and help. But the goal is to apply to more than one university and more than one type of university. Once you connect with that college or university, they'll start communicating with you and give you some information. And the point with that would be to then be able to sit down and compare and contrast the positives and the negatives to help you find your fit. Sometimes when you apply to a new school that you weren't thinking of, you might get some feedback that it's either more affordable or it has a program you didn't even know it had. So just, you might be surprised with new information. Demonstrating interest. How do you find out if a college is a good fit? You're going to want to actually go there and visit, and that's the really important part for parents where you guys come into play, to help get your student to actually go out and experience what that college looks like. When you're on the campus, you can see what it looks like, feel what it looks like, get a sense of the population there, what kind of students go there, the size. Most colleges have tours available every week, weekdays, weekends, winter, summer, spring. College campuses are open as well, so you can't just drive and walk the campuses yourself, but if you go on their websites, it's very easy to sign up for a tour where you can go in, meet with admission reps, and have a guided tour of the campus where they show you the highlights, but also tell you about the details of the school. And then last but not least, once you connect with the college, to make sure you follow up and keep in communication. Every college is different with the application process. Some of them have admission deadlines and additional scholarship criteria, and so that's one of the things to keep in mind, is that you have to pay attention to those deadlines and what you need to do to find out information on the scholarships. It is all about the options. We suggest that students apply to at least 4 to 5 schools. Maybe heart might be set on one. However, again, as I said before, you might not know what colleges can offer you until you reach out and connect with them. And public and private. So public institutions, state-funded institutions like Cleveland State University, Kent State University, Youngstown State University, those are public. And then private schools typically receive funding from their alumni and donations, and would be like, examples would be Baldwin-Wallace College, which is right up the street. Well, actually, it's university now, right? Baldwin-Wallace University. That's an example of a private. John Carroll University. The private schools typically come with an upfront sticker price that's a little higher, but again, as we said in the previous slide, sometimes they are able to offer more to students and lower that ticket price where it is pretty much the same or equal to state colleges. But connecting with more than one, that's how you are able to find out, what different colleges offer and what would be your best fit. Dream big, but have a safety net. Basically, don't cut out any option. To apply to a school, send your information and have them review your profile. There's nothing you can lose by doing that. So if you think a school is out of reach, don't let that keep you from applying. Send your application in. Try to see, what they offer or what they can give you. Target schools would be a school that seems like pretty sure fit, that I'm going to apply to this and most likely I'll get admitted, okay? And then safety schools. Safety schools might be somewhere that your heart's not set on, but it's a guaranteed admission. You would be an easy acceptance. So we recommend out of those 4 to 5 schools, make sure you have a variety. School that might seem a little challenging to get into or maybe a little costly. A school where you look like you have a good chance of getting accepted but you're not quite sure. And then guaranteed admission. Some factors to consider. Each school has entrance requirements for admission. Some colleges look at your GPA. We send transcripts. Every time you apply to a school, you're going to let your school counselor know that you submitted that application, and the next step is for us to send over your records. We send over your initial transcripts that show your information from the end of junior year, and they're going to look over what classes you took. They're going to look at your GPA and grades. Sometimes they check out attendance. So again, thinking, do I have the GPA required to get into this school? Major, what do I want to be when I grow up? A lot of students go into college undecided, which is completely fine. Sometimes it can take up to 2 years to really decide what you want to do. Again, that's completely okay. But if you know what you want to study, one of the first things you're going to do is make sure the college offers that program. Do I want to live at home or school? So commuting, if it's a local college, might save you some money on housing. But if your heart's really set on living at the college, you know, that's a consideration. How much is the housing going to cost? Sometimes they let you have your own room. Sometimes you have to share with a roommate. Different things like that. Does the campus size fit my needs? This is like, is it urban? Is it country? Is it big? Is it small? You want to make sure you're going somewhere where you feel comfortable, where you're not going to feel overwhelmed by a huge population that has large class sizes. If you're more comfortable with a smaller class size, or vice versa. Maybe you want to get somewhere where there's a lot of people and a lot of energy. The setting, urban, rural, or small town, something to consider. Diversity on campus. The best way to tell if you're going to be comfortable with the diversity on campus is actually going there and visiting the school. You know, just by walking around, you can see what kind of students are going to be joining you. Ages, programs, majors, things like that. A couple other considerations, variety of extracurricular activities, team sports. If you're an athlete, is it Division I, Division II, Division III? Most colleges all have clubs and intramurals, but again, do they have stuff that you're interested in participating in? And then special services. Okay, so if you're someone who's going to need support with classes, tutoring, if you're someone who's going to be interested in internships and trying to get your foot into a career pretty early, does that college offer the support services you need to make you successful? So when you're done with them and you graduate, you can move on to the next step. Any questions so far? All right, how adults can support. So having a supportive parent at home or a guardian at home is key to helping students navigate this process with minimal amount of stress. What can parents do to help out? Pretty much listen to your student, let them kind of lead the way and stand there as support and offer advice. Communicate with the admissions department. When you do have your student apply to colleges and universities, the colleges are going to want to talk to the student, not really the parent. However, you can be there as a supportive person. They have a 1-800 number at each college that you can call and ask general questions about admission process, financial aid. Colleges offer visit events where parents are welcome to come to get the information as well. Encouraging the student to go to the campus and visit, meet with the counselor, follow up on scholarship deadlines. That's a lot of added things that the student has to organize and pay attention to as they're trying to still go through high school and graduate. So when you guys are there to throw in little reminders and help them meet those deadlines, that's very helpful. Assisting in staying organized, making sure the student has a calendar. We did pass out that packet. In that packet is some suggestions for following a timeline for admission to college. And then, of course, providing information for applications, including financial aid, in a timely fashion. The second half of today's program is going to be focused on financial aid, so we'll share some more information on that half. Tips to help your student. There's a couple do's and don'ts. You want to be there and be supportive, help them along the way, make sure they're organized, make sure they're keeping their options open, supporting them with their questions. It's very critical for you guys to help facilitate the campus visits. The financial aid piece, again, students who are applying for financial aid are going to need their parent or guardian to sit down with them and fill out that application and share the family finances. Listening to each other to be flexible and asking questions. What really doesn't help is when parents try to overcompensate and step in and act as the student, completing applications or completing the essays for students. This is a time in their life where students are starting to be self-directed and be independent, so it's really important for them to move through this process and the parent or guardian to exist as a facilitator. Timeline. So this doesn't necessarily show a timeline. It's more of things to consider as you move forward from fall of senior year to spring. And again, this is a lot of information, but it's going to be posted online. But, essentially in the top row, these are things you're going to be doing in the fall, late summer or fall of senior year. ACT, SAT, college entrance exams. Some students take those. Those are very important where they aren't necessarily required anymore for colleges. A lot of schools are test optional, which means you can take the SAT or ACT if you like, but it's not necessary for admission. Colleges like to look at students like as a whole picture perspective now. Some colleges still require those tests, but the majority are test optional. However, students can take entrance exams now to kind of help out with showcasing their skills if they're trying to get into a competitive school and they have a strong transcript and resume, but they want to step themselves up a bit. A good SAT score will help set them apart from other kids. If a student maybe struggled through high school, didn't do that well, you take an entrance exam. That's a way to show the college that you do have the capability and the academic ability to succeed. So, hey, my transcript at high school isn't a true picture of who I am. You take that test and it kind of gives them another way to consider your admission. And then also the SAT and ACT exams can also help financially by giving students access to scholarships or tuition discounts, or even bypassing freshman year classes if your test scores are high enough. So there's still some reasons to take the ACT and SAT, but again, not every college requires it. So that would be one of those questions you would be asking and comparing and contrasting the schools. Applying for scholarships. Starting this in the fall is critical. I'm not going to go into too much detail since our second half of the program is going to focus on scholarships, but just to make sure you're aware, scholarships is a continuous process. It's not like a one and done kind of thing. You start applying beginning of senior year, and this is something students will work on all year long. Essays for college applications. If you are applying through the Common App, which we'll talk about shortly, they ask for essays. This would be something a student would be able to work with their school counselor or their English teacher to help prepare a college admission essay. And that should be something that, is worked on early in the fall. About this time, September, October, this is when students should be submitting those early applications, visiting the schools, trying to pick their top 4 to 5, and then meeting with their school counselor to initiate the transcript request and get the recommendation letters from teachers. And then you'll continue to apply through scholarships. Financial aid piece really comes into play December through February of senior year. And then once you apply to schools, second line is like following up. Okay, mid-year, mid-senior year. You're going to want to make sure you're checking on your application status. Once you apply, you will get a response via email, and the colleges will do their very best to communicate with you because they want you to pick their school. But there is a little bit of, the need for the student to follow up and make sure that everything is submitted and that they have what they need to get an admission decision. Meeting with your counselor, we'll be doing that throughout the year. The senior counselors will meet with students individually one-on-one in the fall as well as in the spring, but it's on the student to communicate to the counselor that they've applied to colleges. So that's something you want to keep that relationship continuous and open. Once you start getting acceptance letters, that's when you will begin to kind of decide based on, I got the acceptance letter, what does my financial aid say? You're going to get financial aid award letters in the spring of senior year, and those are the things you're going to sit down and want to talk about with the parents, your guardians, your school counselor on after I get these acceptance letters, how do I pick which college I want to go to? And again, bottom left corner, visiting the school is critical. Some colleges offer overnight stays to seniors, so you can actually go there and stay there overnight and get a little more in-depth experience. College Now advisor, I don't think I introduced you, did I?
I've been introduced.
Okay, so Ms. Spengler, the College Now advisor, she's going to be there to meet with students to go over acceptance letters and admission letters this year as well, to help interpret those and help narrow down to make a decision. The goal is, as it states, to make a decision by May 1st. Some students pick sooner. You are still able to make a decision later, but that would be the ideal so that you could have all of your final documents submitted before you leave high school, and then you're prepared to have everything set up for move-in by August. And of course, it's up to the student to connect with the college and commit to the school and let them know, yes, you're the college I want to pick. All right, we're going to talk briefly about Naviance, just an FYI. Naviance is a portal and a tool that we counselors and our College Now rep uses to communicate with colleges and universities. It's like a middleman. So students will be applying to a college and university, and what we ask the students to do is to use Naviance to let us know what colleges they have applied to. So students will be going on to Naviance multiple times throughout their senior year, and it has a lot of advantages to it. As a communication piece, students can go onto this program and they can do everything listed there, from researching different careers to connecting to practice for the ACT and SAT. It has a link to almost every college. So if they're sitting there and not sure where you want to apply, students can go onto their Naviance account and they can look through and explore different colleges. It's also a way to quickly get to the applications. Every college has a website, and students can go directly to that website to browse, research, and apply, but Naviance is just a backup method to do the same thing. And what's nice about Naviance is it offers a compare and contrast tool as well. So students can pick a couple colleges and kind of see side-by-side comparison. Naviance is also what we would like students to log into and use to request transcripts for colleges. And then it's also how they sign up for any visits that we offer here at Valley Forge, or field trips we offer at Valley Forge, to actually connect with the college reps. And last but not least, we do have scholarship material on Naviance. The students have been learning about Naviance since they were in 8th grade. Every year, they're given some tasks in their classes to kind of get familiar with the portal. So the hope is by senior year, they have knowledge of how to log in and where to look for tabs and how to use it. But just a brief overview, it comes with a home page where they're able to find links to different documents and connect to where they would apply, or where they would sign up for rep visits, where they would request transcripts. It has tabs where it has different tasks in there. Those are kind of fun things that we push out, different tasks for the kids to do each year to kind of help them explore colleges as well as get to know themselves. Sometimes there's some career profiles in there where if you're not sure what you want to do when you get older, or you're not sure what to study in college, you can take some of these career profiles to kind of get a better idea of what your skills are in line with. The college tab will be used a lot because the college tab is how the students can research colleges, compare and contrast colleges, link to college rep appointments and visits, and then browse the scholarship and admission process. And then last but not least, it has an About Me tab, which is really nice. Again, students have been going in this for the last couple years, hopefully in their English classes or other classes, where they have created, basically they've been building a portfolio of themselves throughout the last 4 years in high school. And us counselors and the teachers like to use that area to make our recommendation letters. So there's surveys in there. It's where their GPA is stored. It's where their test scores, if they've taken an ACT or SAT, is scored. They have a resume builder in there. And then again, we can go in there and we can see what the kids' activities were throughout high school, what their interests are, their skill sets, what their goals are, and that helps us kind of create a profile to make those recommendation letters. So again, just covering the basics. It's an online portal. It's a communication tool. It helps the students keep us, the counselors, updated on where they want to go to college, what they might be interested in studying, and allows us to send transcripts to the school. It also keeps track of the students' progress once the admission process to a college has started. So again, the students are going to apply to colleges, and then they need to let us know. So they're going to go into Naviance, and they're going to update Naviance, and they're going to tell their counselor, these are the schools I've applied to. Once they do that, and we get notification, we start our process of sending out the documents like application fee waivers, high school transcripts, recommendation letters. Naviance will keep track of all that. So if you're ever to the point where you're not sure, where has my kid applied, is there the transcript requested, are there recommendation letters, this is the tool that you would go to look that up. And this is just a screenshot of the site page. So again, this will be posted online if you want to take a closer look after this presentation. Two important options to apply to college. Students have the choice of using what's called a common application or applying directly to a school. There are a couple colleges in Ohio that require the common application. I know Ohio State main campus is one of them. And then most schools also have a direct application on their website. And again, students can use Naviance to link to those direct applications. The difference would be the experience of application and then the purpose of the application. So the common application is exactly what it says. It's an application that is common to any school. Most schools accept the common application. Direct to institution means you go on the school's website, you click their apply button, and you fill out the application. Common application, you do it once, you fill it out, complete it, and then the application gets sent to all the schools you're interested in. The direct application is one application to one school at a time. The common application typically takes about 30 minutes to an hour to complete, and it includes a personal essay. And then it also has supporting documents that you'll be filling things out about your activities as a student, any athletics, any work history, and pretty much a student profile. The direct applications typically take about 5 to 10 minutes to fill out, and usually any supporting documents are just what the counselors send. So when choosing which one you would do, it's kind of a personal preference, but working with your school counselor and also our College Now rep, you could decide which is best. Again, if you go to a school that requires the Common App like Ohio State main campus, you're going to want to do that. But if you're only applying to one or two schools, you're not really, you're not really looking to be like apply anywhere competitive. The direct application might be the quicker, easier route for you. Do you guys have any questions about those?
Can we hold questions to the end?
Oh, we'll hold questions to the end. But yeah, so Common App versus Direct App. Either. All colleges view them equally. They do not discriminate which one. It's just a matter of which one fits your preference better. Okay, so when using the Common App, things to consider. If, as I said, if you're only applying to one school, even like 2 or 3, the direct app might be easier. It's 5 to 10 minutes. You go to the website, you apply, and you're done. The next step is telling your counselor, and we do the rest. But if you're going to be applying to 6, 7, 8 schools, or you're going somewhere very competitive that you really need to send them a full profile because you want to get in and you know that you're applying with all kinds of other students who have high academic transcripts like you do, you might want to do the Common App because the Common App gives you time to list everything you've done in high school, and us counselors have to do a profile on you as well. And we have to rate you as a student, write you a recommendation letter. Make sure you are checking the school's website to see if there are separate applications for grants and scholarships that are not linked to the Common App. So again, we'll save that information to the second half. And then just a couple sidebars. Has anyone recently moved to the U.S. or is everyone U.S. born and bred? Did you raise your hand? Okay. Sometimes the classification for the Common App, if you haven't been in Ohio long enough, will classify you in the wrong out-of-state, in-state. So that's just a sidebar, something to pay attention to if you choose that app. And then I already mentioned about the counselor rating. All right, the application process. Essentially, first step is finding the school that you are interested in applying to. Then you decide if you want to do the Common App or the direct application. Once you apply, you're going to want to communicate to your counselor that you applied, and then we move forward with the transcript process. We do have fee waivers available if you qualify. A lot of schools are not charging application fees anymore. It's just naturally free, which is nice. We do ask that the students go into Naviance and fill out that resume section and the recommendation packet so that we can see what they've done in the last 4 years and write a really nice recommendation letter. There is, as we said before, use Naviance to request recommendation letters from your teachers as well. And then keeping track of your status. Naviance, again, you can go in there and say, you can notate what colleges you're thinking about. You can put in what college you applied to. You can tell your counselor to send transcripts by hitting that request button. You can order recommendation letters from your teacher, and then you can follow up to see where you are in the process. If you choose to use the Common App, Naviance and the Common App communicate. So there are a couple additional steps that students who use the Common App are going to need to do through Naviance, but that's something that we will work with them to discuss. And last but not least, email counselor to send out transcript after application is complete. It says we don't receive automatic updates, which is true. Naviance updates and sends updates, but it's not something that comes in like a text. We don't get dinged. We have to go into Naviance and we have to look for it. We have to see what students applied to what school, and then we have to see what students requested transcripts. So if you want to speed up the process, a quick email to your counselor will let us know sooner, and then we'll get that transcript sent out. All right, a couple important points. So counselors cannot send transcripts without the students completing their Naviance side. Communication is key. Students need to check their emails. Students need to let us know about the applications. Students need to keep track of deadlines. And any student that's interested in specialty programs like the honors program or scholarships and early action, they may have special tasks and different deadlines to follow. So those are just important things that you want to pay attention to as you move through this process. A couple considerations for caution. Some colleges do not accept the ACT, SAT score from the high schools. So when students take those exams, they have to put on the test as they're taking it where they want to apply to or send the scores. However, a lot of students who take those tests as juniors don't know where they want to go. So most of the schools we can send the scores to, but some of them will say we need the scores direct. If they say that, the student has to order the test score through the test company. Everybody can do that on the website, but again, we can help walk the student through that process if need be. Counselors require 2 weeks to process requests, so that's the transcript request, and that accounts for that we don't get the notice right away. That accounts for we have to go in and we have to see that the transcript was requested, and then we have to send it out, which takes processing time. But however, if you email us, it'll be much quicker. And then last but not least, it is on the student to follow up with the colleges to see where they're at in the application process and finish any tasks that are outstanding and left to do, or any missing materials. And then the final thoughts for the admission process. Senior year does count. So as I said at the beginning, we send transcripts that cover freshman through junior year. So when those students are getting that acceptance letter from college, in the very small fine print, it says something like pending high school graduation. So kids are accepted with the thought that they're going to finish out senior year, still do well, and graduate. Some seniors, very few, but some seniors might kick back and relax once they get that admission letter and think they're good to go. But what happens is we send a transcript when you apply, and then we send a final transcript when you graduate, and then that college will double check your transcript from graduation to make sure you still meet the criteria, and then they will permanently admit you or make a final decision. Again, pay close attention to deadlines. Every college and university is different. Early admission deadlines are typically in the fall, and then standard deadlines can be in the winter or spring. And then some colleges have rolling admission, and you can apply all the way through the year up until next August and still get in. So every school is different. You got to check out those dates and deadlines. And then the provisional admission is what I just said, provisionally admitted pending senior year. Scholarships require persistence. We'll talk about that in the second half. Follow up on emails is important. If a college is missing something, they are going to email the student. If the student misses that email, that could make things take a long time to get processed. Or you could miss out and miss a deadline. Google Classroom, we have a senior Google Classroom here, which we invited all seniors to join first day of school. That's something where we post college updates and financial aid updates. So we ask that students, you don't have to check it every day, but we do ask that you check it regularly each week. So if there's any announcements or any tasks we need you to do or any special opportunities, that you're aware of that. And then last but not least, make sure you're in communication with your counselors as well as the College Now rep, so we can help you navigate this process and make sure you're on track. I think that's the last slide.
The rest of them are at the end of the other one too.
Okay, this is the contact information for the counselors. Again, this will be posted online. I'm going to transition over to Ms. Spangler for the financial aid piece of the presentation, and then at the end we'll do questions.
So my name's Heidi Spangler. I'm the College Now advisor at Valley Forge this year. I am here every Wednesday, all day during the school day. Students can come in and meet with me, make appointments with me. I'm also available by email and text if it's not a convenient time on a Wednesday. We can always set up a time to talk. I'm going to talk a little bit about navigating post-secondary admissions, the financial aid end of it. So the costs associated with college. Tuition and fees are considered direct costs. Direct costs is money that you pay directly to the college. So you're going to pay your tuition, your room and board directly to the college. Other costs are indirect costs, your books and supplies, personal expenses, transportation. Those are considered indirect because they're costs the student can control. So you may decide that you want to rent books instead of buying books. There's different ways a student can control those costs. And colleges, when they give you total cost of attendance breakdown, they're going to estimate some of those indirect costs for you so you can kind of have a budget of what it will cost you to go to that college. But the only fees that you pay directly to the college are tuition and fees and room and board. So what is financial aid? Financial aid is money to help students pay for their college education. Some financial aid is free, and some financial aid is not free. but all financial aid will help you pay for college, whether you're going to a 2-year school, a 4-year school, a trade school, or training programs. A lot of trade schools, if they're public, nonprofit schools, they will accept financial aid. So like if you're looking at Polaris or something like that, those schools do accept financial aid if you fill out the FAFSA. But all of it will help you pay for college. So the different types of financial aid. There's gift money, earned money, and borrowed money. So gift money is in the form of grants and scholarships. Grants are typically need-based, scholarships are typically merit-based. Earned money through federal work study, which you can do on the college campus, and borrowed money, the thing everybody loves to talk about. So borrowed money is your student loans. So gift money is typically, the first piece of gift money is grants. So grants are typically need-based. Your eligibility for a grant is usually determined by the FAFSA application. That's the free application for federal student aid. Everybody who goes to college fills out the FAFSA, whether you think you qualified for federal aid or not. It is given by the federal government, and some colleges will give out grants. So when you fill out that FAFSA, if you're eligible for federal grants, some colleges may see that number and also kick in with their own grants. In order to maintain your federal grant, students must maintain a satisfactory academic progress in college, which is typically a 2.0 GPA. So if you fill out the FAFSA and earn a federal Pell Grant, and you go in and you get a 1.5 your freshman year, you're putting that grant at risk. So when you go, you really want to maintain that satisfactory progress with a 2.0 or higher. Grants do not need to be repaid, and the Pell Grant is the main example of a federal grant program. Other type of gift money is scholarships. So scholarships can be merit-based, need-based, circumstance-based, or any combination of these. There are hundreds of thousands of scholarships out there. There are scholarships for left-handed people. There are scholarships for short people. There are scholarships for people who have someone in their family with diabetes. There are scholarships for all kinds of people. And I always tell students, take a personal inventory before you start applying for scholarships. Find what makes you unique. You'll be surprised what you find out there when you start searching for them. Colleges, universities, community and civic organizations, and businesses all give out scholarships. Some scholarships are one-time payments. They're paid directly to the student for college expenses. The Parma PTA scholarships are a good example of this, where the student will just get a physical check that they can use for college expenses. And some are renewable for up to 4 years. Our College Now scholarship is a scholarship like that. It's renewable for 4 years for the student, so it can add up. Renewable scholarships may require the student to hold a specific GPA, and scholarships also do not need to be repaid. These are gift money. So tips for scholarship searching. The first is think specific, like I was talking about earlier. They're available for a wide variety of criteria. So think about your academic achievement. Think about if you like to write essays, certain majors. If students who are going into a STEM field, science, technology, engineering, and math, if you're interested in one of those fields, you want to be looking at that Choose Ohio First scholarship, which is for STEM majors who are studying in the state of Ohio, and underrepresented students. So there's scholarships for all types of things. I love scholarship searching, so if you want to sit down with me, I love seeing what I can find, so it's a lot of fun. And I love when I find something really different. So you also want to think local. Civic organizations, your high school, the Parma PTA has scholarships that come out in January. Civic organizations, the Cleveland Foundation has a big scholarship app that's managed by College Now. There's a bunch of scholarships in there. Place of employment, if you work at Chick-fil-A, they have scholarships. Burger King has scholarships, I think Sherwin-Williams. So think about where you work. Starbucks has some scholarships, I believe. Where your parents work, where people in your family work. Think about if there may be scholarships available to you through that. Think easy. You want to apply to the most obvious scholarships first. Some local scholarships offer very competitive odds because the applicant pool is smaller. So when you look at the Parma PTA scholarships, that's just for Parma high school students, it's going to be a lot smaller. If you look at the College Now scholarship, it's only for students in College Now served high schools who have a certain GPA and test score and Pell eligibility. So again, that's going to be a smaller application pool. You can check College Now's website for a comprehensive list of scholarships as well. We have a scholarship search tool on there. And in the packets that everybody's going to get, there's a list of scholarship sites to search as well. So when applying for scholarships, the first thing you want to do is read the qualifications and criteria for each scholarship. Scholarships are posted in Naviance too, so you can use that as a resource to look for scholarships. The Parma PTA scholarships, as I said, are available in January. A good idea for scholarships, and a lot of times I see students saying this, I don't have a good essay. If you have an essay, submit it. It's better. You never know who didn't enter because they didn't love their essay. And what I find is nobody loves their essay, and then nobody wants to submit their essay because they think it's not perfect. And those essays are generally better than you think. So have one general essay, and then you can kind of tweak it to fit different prompts for your scholarships. I'm happy to read essays for you and look them over. No essay is ever going to be the perfect essay in your mind, but some essays are pretty good, and I hate for students to not apply for a scholarship because they didn't think their essay was good enough and they missed that deadline. So you want to write a good essay, but don't punish yourself and take yourself out of the ring if you just don't love it. Fill out 2 to 3 scholarships a week. Make a goal of 50 total scholarships. That sounds like a lot, especially if you're the student who has to apply for all those scholarships. But it's really not. Parma PTA, you probably apply for a few through there. The Cleveland Foundation scholarships, you might find 5 or 10 on there that you're applying, and they have a general app. But the way that I look at it is if you put in some time applying for scholarships and you end up with $10,000 in money, that's a pretty good part-time job. So really look at it that way, is give yourself a couple hours a week, focus on researching and applying for scholarships, and if you end up with getting some money from that, it's going to be a really good use of your time. So resources to find scholarships. So the first place you want to look is on the college website. So this on the left is Baldwin Wallace's website. So they, right off the bat, if you have a 3.9 SAT, you're going to get a $21,000 scholarship to that school, just on admission. That will be on acceptance, but you also want to look at the school website to see if there's scholarships you have to apply for. I think John Carroll has a separate scholarship application that's not part of your college application. So some you will get on admittance based on your GPA or test scores, and some you're going to have to apply for in addition to your application to the school. So if you're focused on a few colleges, make sure you're looking at the scholarship area on their website. Oh, you can increase your award if your academic qualifications change. So say you are applying to Baldwin Wallace and you get accepted with a 3.8. So you're in that $19,000 range, and you do amazing your senior year and you increase yourself to a 3.9. Tell them, see if you can get that extra $2,000. We see a lot of students who are on the top end of a scholarship range, and as they increase that scholarship, or as they increase their GPA, they might be able to get into the next level and get another couple $1,000s. There's net price calculators on a lot of the school's websites. You can go in there and kind of play around with your GPA once you've done your FAFSA and you know your it's called the Student Aid Index score this year. You'll be able to put that in, and they'll give you kind of a net price on what you're likely to be eligible to receive. So the school website is a really good place to look. The next place, of course, is College Now website. So this is our link to College Now Find Scholarships. If you go to that on our website, you can apply for the College Now scholarship. That is something you have to work with me on because I have to recommend you for it. You can apply for scholarships managed by College Now. The Cleveland Foundation, the Malone Foundation has a scholarship on there. So there's different scholarships that we manage. And then there's an outside scholarship tool that's really nice on there because it's sorted by application close date. So you can kind of go in and grab what's coming up, and it's refreshed all the time. So you can find a lot of scholarships there. So the College Now Scholarship, it is a need-based scholarship. So to apply for that, you must be eligible for a federal Pell Grant. So when you fill out that FAFSA, if they tell you you're eligible for any level of Pell Grant, you're considered Pell eligible, and you can apply for that need-based scholarship. You must have a 2.5 GPA or higher and a 960 SAT or 18 ACT. So that's the range to apply for the College Now Scholarship. If you do find you're eligible for it, I'm going to be like, I tried to get everybody to apply for it last year, and we had 22 kids in this school who got that scholarship last year, and a little over 30 applied. So it was a really good result for everyone. It was a lot of fun to see them get it. You must be recommended by your advisor, so that's me, and the application will be available in 2024. In addition to the main College Now Scholarship, which does not require an essay, we have additional scholarships in higher ranges that do require an essay for students who apply for College Now. So those applicant pools get really small on those, and some of those are $5,000. They're really nice, nice amounts of money that people are sharing with students there. So as that comes around, you'll see me posting about it and talking about it nonstop, and you'll know that the College Now application is available. So then there's earned money. So earned money is federal work study. This is work that you're doing on campus. Colleges will offer specific opportunities to students. The nice thing about federal work study is they're really willing to work around your college schedule because you're working on the campus. So students who are eligible for work study can research available jobs, apply and interview. The money is paid directly to the student for living expenses. It doesn't go to tuition or anything like that. It's just extra money for the student to have. And you are not penalized on the FAFSA for any money that you earn through work study. So the next is borrow money, the fun topic, everybody's favorite topic, which is loans. So federal student loans are awarded upon completion of the FAFSA. The first one, the direct subsidized loan, and the direct unsubsidized loan, those are loans that the student's going to take. The student is the borrower, and there's no credit check on those. They're currently at 5.5% fixed rate. And they usually, the direct is typically about $3,500, and then another maybe $2,000 for the unsubsidized. So they don't offer a huge amount to students. Independent students get offered a little bit more. But those, the student's the borrower, and that's money that the student will be responsible for paying back. Then there's a Parent Plus loan, which is typically, it's about 8% right now. That is money that the parent would borrow. There is a credit check and a credit history required for those loans. And those are through the government. The bottom, there's private or alternative loans, which are from banks or other loan sources that you might research. So loans are going to be where you fill in your gap. You really want to focus on grants and scholarships first, and then what you need to fill in, that's where you're going to look for loans. So what is the FAFSA? The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It is typically available on October 1st, but they're making the better FAFSA this year, which is supposed to be a lot better, and it will come out sometime in December. We don't have an exact date on when the FAFSA is being released. When that FAFSA does come out, you want to look at the colleges you're applying to and get your college applications in on time. Don't worry about the FAFSA on that. But once it comes out, look at the colleges you applied to and look at their FAFSA date when they want that FAFSA from you. You want to get that to them as soon as possible. The federal Pell Grant does not run out if you're eligible for it. That's government money that's paid to you. But if a school is able to subsidize you with extra need-based grants, that money does run out. So you want to be the first one in on all of that. So get your FAFSA done as soon as possible when it does come out. And you're able to list up to 20 colleges on that, so that information will go right to the colleges you applied to. The Department of Education oversees the FAFSA, and it also triggers any state grants, like the Ohio College Opportunity Grant for students with financial need. That's all kind of triggered by your results when you fill out the FAFSA. It calculates what's called the Student Aid Index. If you've done a FAFSA before, this used to be called the EFC, Estimated Family Contribution. Now they call it the Student Aid Index. And it has to be completed every year you intend to enroll in college. So you complete it this year, you complete it next year, you're going to complete it every year that you're in college. There is a FAFSA estimator, since it's not available yet, and I've been using this, and it's awesome, but they just took it down. They're fixing it, not fixing it, they're updating it. So I'll send you guys this link. It should be back up again in a couple days. But if you're starting to look at colleges now and you can't do the FAFSA yet because it's not open, this estimator is really nice. You just can plug in your income, your student income, family size, and that. It'll kind of estimate if you're going to be eligible for a Pell Grant and what that might be. So major changes for the better FAFSA this year. Has anyone in this room done a FAFSA before? Wasn't it a lot of fun? It's a good time, isn't it? Okay. So the better FAFSA this year, it's going to open in December. The look and feel of the FAFSA has changed. It was in desperate need of an update. There are fewer questions. It's been reduced to 36 questions from over 100 questions. So it will definitely take less time to complete. More income has been excluded that they're not looking at. Everyone will need an FSA ID to start the FAFSA. So all students and their parents should create an FSA ID online. One change is the number of students a family has enrolled in college will no longer factor into the calculation. And students need to invite their parents. So the student will start the FAFSA and then they'll invite their parent to do their portion of the FAFSA. Contributors are required to consent to the IRS sharing their federal information with the FAFSA. So they're both government agencies, but you'll consent to your tax return automatically being pulled in there. So before you had to use this kind of wonky IRS tool that worked about 50% of the time. Now it's an automatic connection. You just have to consent to it and your data will come right in there. The student aid index is replacing the expected family contribution, and it used to be called the student aid report, and now it's going to be called the FAFSA submission summary. So those are just some changes to it. I've seen some screenshots, and I actually do like it better, so I think it's going to be a nice change. So everyone right now can create their FSA ID. If you filed FAFSAs before, your FSA ID should be the same. You should be able to log in as you always have. The student and at least one parent, depending on the circumstances, each need to create their own FSA ID and use a unique email and phone number for each one. Make sure you're not using your school email when you do this. And if you're a parent, make sure you're not using a work email. You want to have an email that's always going to stay with you, so use a personal email. You'll need your social security number, full name, and date of birth, and a memorable username and password, and you'll complete some challenge questions and answers to receive your account information. You can set up your FSA ID now. It's a good idea to get it set up now so you're ready to go when it's time to fill out the FAFSA. Information you'll need to complete the FAFSA: your 2022 income tax returns, your social security number, your FSA ID and passwords, balance of your checking and savings account. So when you fill this out, they're going to ask you, what's the balance of your checking and savings account as of today? Everybody knows those numbers fluctuate. So typically a rule of thumb is, what is the balance in your checking and savings account after you've paid your bills? Because it might be today and you just got paid and it's way higher than it normally is. So they're just trying to see what you have in there typically. So don't make the mistake of putting in a number that's not realistic for you, that might be too high, because that can affect your award letter. So you want to be honest about it, but look at, what would I have after everything's paid, what's left in there. Investments and asset information, if you have 529 plans or investments, that would be in there, and any records of untaxed income. So some quick reminders: the FAFSA needs to be completed every year. The 2024 to 25 FAFSA will be available in December. Why complete it in the first place? It generates every type of financial aid. And if you don't complete it, the colleges will be emailing you saying, we need your FAFSA. And some of them will not give you any financial award without having a FAFSA on file. So they at least need to have that on file for you. You should also have your taxes completed, your 2022 taxes completed, so you can get the FAFSA done. You want to try to complete it by January 31st this year. As soon as it comes out, people are going to be getting on there to complete it, but because it's coming out late, you really want to try to get that done by the end of January 2024. So the FAFSA process: the student completes it every year. Some aid is awarded first come, first serve, so it's important to file it early. Many institutions are going to have priority deadlines for some sources of aid, so make sure you know the deadlines at your institutions. They're all going to have financial aid deadlines if you look in their websites. Somewhere like Ohio State, things like that, you're going to really want to watch those deadlines so that you don't pull yourself out of scholarship or grant consideration by getting that in too late. Again, it typically opens on October 1st, but this year, due to the better FAFSA, it's opening in December. So who is my parent for purposes of the FAFSA? This gets really confusing, and the wording on it is a lot more clear now than it used to be. So if your parents are married, you want to report the financial information for both of your parents. If your parents are living together but not married and they're both your biological parents, you're going to want to report the information for both of those parents, biological or adopted parents. If your parents are not living together, report the information for the parent who financially supported you most in the last year. So this gets tricky because financial support, people might say, well, yeah, I do everything for him, but this person, that's for your family to figure out who provides the most financial support and have that person do it. It used to be the person that the student lived with. Now they're asking for the parent who financially supported the student the most in the last year. If the parent is remarried, you also have to report the information for the step-parent, the financial information for the step-parent. So if you live with your mom or dad and they remarried, that person's income is also part of the household income that gets reported on the FAFSA. If they're not married and just living in the house, then it's not counted, only if there's a marriage there. The following people are not your parents unless they have legally adopted you. So if you have a widowed step-parent that you may live with, that person is not considered your parent and their income doesn't have to be reported. If you're living with your grandparents, that income doesn't have to be reported. Foster parents, legal guardians, older brothers and sisters, or aunts or uncles. So if you're in any of these living situations, I'm happy to help you figure out how to report this. It's a little different for everyone, but they've kind of set it up here so it's pretty easy to understand. So there are students who some are considered independent. So there's a few criteria for determining independent status. If a student is married, they're automatically independent student. If a student has children or other dependents who receive more than half of their support from you, that student is considered independent. If a student served in the military, on active duty, or a veteran, they're independent. Unaccompanied youth who is homeless or is self-supporting and at risk of homelessness is considered independent. A student whose both parents are deceased, in foster care, dependent or ward of the court, and legal guardianships. These students are all considered independent students on the FAFSA, so they're only going to look at the student income on that. And a lot of those students generally are full Pell Grant eligible. So after I complete the FAFSA, now what? So you'll receive a report within the next couple days called the FAFSA Submission Summary. That report is going to let you know how much money in grants and loans you're eligible to receive. So it will tell you your student aid index number is this. Based on this number, you're eligible to receive a federal Pell Grant in the amount of X. Right now, the maximum is $7,395. It may go up a little when they reset them in January. It went up about $500 last year, so we're hoping it goes up again. So the current maximum Pell Grant is $7,395 right now. That money is paid directly to the school, so it doesn't go through anybody's hands. It just comes right off your tuition. So what is verification? So after you complete your FAFSA, there's a process called verification. Not everybody goes through it, but it requires the college to collect documentation to verify and collect information you reported on the application. A lot of independent students will go through verification. If they say, I'm in foster care, they're going to want to see the court papers to prove that before the school authorizes the grant. This year, they're thinking verification will go down because most often it would be triggered by somebody not using the IRS tool and manually entering their tax data, but now it's going to be automated, so people are thinking verification may go down. It may just be more of a random process, but they really just ask for some documents to prove some of the data that was on the FAFSA. But look out when you do know where you're going to college, that's again, check your emails, because if the college is emailing you saying, we're verifying your FAFSA, we need these documents from you. You want to make sure that you're reading your emails and getting them the information they need. There's usually a little worksheet that you need to fill out. I did verification with a bunch of students last year, and it was way easier than we thought. They really just want to see some verification on the data that you put in there. Next one is a CSS profile. So this is another form of financial aid. The CSS profile application is on College Board, and there are over 400 schools use the CSS profile. It is mostly the more selective schools, your Case Western, Kenyon College, a lot of the Ivy League schools. There's a lot of schools that are using the CSS profile. So this is how those schools determine what grants they can give you. It's a little bit deeper look into your financial situation where you can tell them a little bit more about yourself. So you want to check on College Board for a list of schools that require the CSS profile. It is only used for non-federal aid, so it's only a way to get additional aid, but these schools will require it. That does open October 1st. So if you're applying to Case Western or any other school that's listed on the CSS profile, you want to make sure you're checking when they want that from you and that you get it filled out for them. You're going to probably do it before the FAFSA. It's a little bit more detailed than the FAFSA. It is $25 to do the first one and $16 for each additional school, but if your family income is less than $100,000, you can fill it out for free. So that's how a very elite school is going to be able to look at your income and determine if they have more grants for you available from their funders. So special circumstances are something that you can report if you feel like your FAFSA number doesn't accurately reflect that 2022 number, doesn't accurately reflect your life now. So that might be a layoff. And maybe you had a great income in 2022 and since then you've been laid off. So you can report those special circumstances. Medical, dental, or nursing home expenses, reduction in your hours worked, maybe a divorce in the family, illness or disability, a death in the family, maybe income from a rental property that you no longer have. So all of those circumstances after you submit your FAFSA, you can appeal to the college's special circumstances that you have if you think that number was too high and work with them to see if they can adjust that for you. So how to request special circumstances. So on the FAFSA, you cannot do it through the FAFSA. You would do it after you apply to college and the school's received your FAFSA, and then you contact the institution. They usually have special circumstances forms on their website that you can fill out. The CSS profile, the final question, allows for you to explain any special circumstances that you might have. It's really important to do, and never feel like you're being a nag or a bother when you do things like this. If you feel like you've had a major change in your life since you did that 2022 tax return, you want to make sure that they know. Colleges will work with you on that. So make sure that you report any special circumstances that you're dealing with. And if you need help doing it, I'm happy to help you do it. So award letters. So these will be sent to you from the schools in late March or early April. Every college to send you an award letter. If you don't get an award letter, it could mean that they weren't able to match your FAFSA or they didn't receive your FAFSA. But the award letter is going to tell you the total cost of attendance at the school, any gift money that you're getting, grants or scholarships. So your Pell Grant will be in there if you're eligible for one. If the school's giving you any scholarships or grants, that will be listed in there. Earned money, they'll tell you if you're eligible for federal work study. And then they're going to suggest loans to you. They're going to put those student loans in there, the subsidized and unsubsidized, and tell you what you're eligible for Parent Plus. Award letters are not all laid out the same, and it's really important to review them because sometimes those loans look like grants. And you want to make sure you're not committing to a loan that you don't want to take. So we have a spreadsheet at College Now that we can plug all the numbers in for you and compare all the schools you applied to. So if you apply to 5 schools, we'll have it all lined up for you to look at and see, what school really has the best bottom line for you. But you should get those. They usually come out in the spring. You may find this year with the FAFSA being late that award letters are late too. And also some of the initial scholarships that you get upon application, they may not be releasing as quickly. They may be waiting for the award letter. So don't stress if something looks funny to you when you get accepted or an award letter. I'm happy to look it over with you and see if information is missing. There's going to be at the bottom of the award letter, there's going to be an unmet need, which is your true cost of attendance, which is going to tell you basically what you would have to pay. So that's it on financial aid and grants and loans, scholarships, all that fun stuff. Again, I'm Heidi Spangler. I'm at Normandy High School and Valley Forge High School. I'm Normandy on Tuesdays, at Valley Forge on Wednesdays. You can reach me at any of that information. I'm happy to sit down with you and go through this. We are going to be having FAFSA nights when we know the FAFSA is available. College Now will be having them. We'll be doing it at some public libraries as well. Anyone is welcome to come to those with help filling out the FAFSA, and I can set up a private meeting to fill it out with you as well.